Right, well, I've brought some more pots in and to be fixed up. Now I'm thinking about this one over here. I'm thinking about just abandoning this one. So actually the frame itself is not in bad condition. Oh, I say that, it's pretty knackered there and there. This one's obviously gone through a storm this year, but you can see there the shipworms eating away into the wood there. So that's not good. I mean, I could patch that and use it for this season without a problem. And I think this is probably one of the oldest pots I've got, because it's got, I don't know if you can see in there, it's got chain in there, and the one that had the chain in is one of my oldest pots. In fact, it's lasted way longer than I ever expected it would. But with the chain, it's not quite as heavy and it tends to drag around a bit. That's why you see the base has got had several repairs, because it moves around a bit, that one. It's not that heavy. But I think I might just literally take it apart and just make a new one. It's probably that time. This one I'll be repairing. This one's another one you can see it's been dragging. These two were together. So this set has moved. This might have been the set that moved, oh crikey, it moved probably over a mile during a monstrous storm last year when all the pots shifted. And yeah, it ended up getting dragged about a mile away. So it didn't do too bad, considering it went through about 3 sets of reefs and that on its way, or ones that you could see. Right, I'm going to continue on with the sort of Fisherman's Life videos, and this one's a bit of an odd one because it's not something I sort of do every day or behind the scenes more than that. Well, it is behind the scenes, but not something I do every day, and it's making a prawn net, or a shrimp net. Now, I made this a couple of weeks ago, filmed it all, then I was going to go down and go and use it, and basically we did, but during that night the wind came up to like 4-7, the tide didn't go down because the storm was holding the tide up, and it was just horrible. Now the patrons will have known this because I did put all that extra footage up on the Patreon, and just to show that night really. But this is going to be the building of that prawn net, the shrimp net, and it just shows you how to make one. Basically just a quick knock up. And yeah, I mean they do work, because the thing is with that, like I said, I don't do it every day because it's one of these things, once you've made one, they kind of last for years and years, so you don't end up having to make prawn nets every day. It's not like a crab pot that gets bashed around. Anyway, let's take a look. Right. So, chopping up some metal. So I'm going to be making a prawn net. Now, if you remember from an old prawn video, you'll know that I broke the net. Well, I fixed it. So basically I put a piece of steel up inside each tube, fitted it in, soldered it on, so it's now strong, reinforced with steel, and usable again. So we'll take it again. But what I want to do is I'm going to make just a small prototype one. I'm not going to make a big one to start with. What I really wanted was 8mm bar, but I've only got 10, so I'll have to go with 10mm for now. And I'm going to bend this around. I'm going to make a small prawn net with this and obviously our net. But yeah, I just need something to bend it on. Okay, that bent. Yep. This is an old steel pipe. This is a bit too much. It's not bad. It doesn't have to be exact, like I say, it's only going to be for prawns. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Like that. Whew. Same on this side. to bend that a bit more. Yep. Yeah, we're getting there. It's just a case of spending a bit of time working it to approximately what you want. This is a little high one side, but I'm only trying it out to see if it'll work with the, if it's not going to be too heavy enough on the 10. What it'll do is it'll go on like that. In fact, that'll probably do actually. Unless I can bend it there. Let me try. That's better. There we go. So we end up with something like this hoop with the bars here. Now what I'll probably do here is I'll probably just grind a flat on here where it's going to go against the post. Just makes it sit nice if you put a flat on it. It's not likely to twist and that when it goes on there. So put a flat and then we need to whip it on there. Once we've got the net sorted as well. Right. That'll do. It's a smaller net, obviously you can see it's going to be smaller than that one. But the thing is, when you go amongst the rocks and the stones, it's actually better to have a small net. Big nets are no good because you can't get against the rocks and the prawns always sort of run into the rocks, so these little ones are better. You can even put a slight point on them if you like to get into little corners and that. But I mean this will be fine for what we're going to try. And like I say, if it works out alright with the 10, I'll go and make a bigger one. If not, I'll drop back to an 8mm metal for a bigger one. Right, I'm going to go and grind the flat parts. In fact, you can probably see that as well. Now I might use a longer handle than this, obviously I'm just using this as a guide for the moment. I really need to go and get another handle, but this will do for the moment. Just need to bend it out a little bit more. And if any of you have noticed, I'm using a cutting blade. Well done. I know I'm using a cutting blade, I just couldn't be bothered to change it to the grinding blade. So it's almost worn out, I'm going to be changing this one for a new one soon. But it's adequate for what I'm doing here, so that's it. Okay, just need to either curl that bit a bit more or straighten those out a bit. I think I will. Okay, I also sanded a little bit of a flat either side on the wood just so it fits flush, the metal and the wood together, so it sandwiches, and that way it can't sort of twist and turn, that kind of thing, when you're putting it together. Then all you do is, once you've got it together like so, we'll put it on this short handle for now. It should be long enough that for now. I can always change it, it's not a problem. Plus, like I say, I'm only making this as a prototype one. I'll make a proper one at a later date. The reason I'm making it in a rush is because I want to go get some prawns this week, so I want to get it made now. So I've got something. I will take the other one, but being the other one has broken before, even though I've reinforced it, I just want to make sure that I've got one that works perfectly fine. Okay, so all you've got to do is just tape it on for now, and then we'll run some whipping over the top, some string, rope, string. In fact, we could probably pull that back and gain a little bit, there we go, a little bit extra length. Right, there you go. Now you could actually just go with tape if you put enough tape on, but I used to do that with hooks. I used to whip them and then just tape over the top, like with lobster hooks, because you make hooks usually at least this long, maybe 6 foot for lobsters. So same idea, just whip them on like that. Or the other way you can do it is if your metal's thinner, you can bend the metal over at the end, make a hole and put it in. But you've got to remember, if you put a hole into the wood, when you put things into it, you're weakening your wood. So things to bear in mind. Right, now for whipping it on, I'm just going to use probably some crab pot string. I bought a new one the other day, so we've got plenty of it. But this stuff here, and this is my least favourite job, is whipping things onto things. Same as rod eyes, whipping them on. So what we're going to do is just whip it on to here. We will tuck it in there somewhere, like that. And then you just go over the whole thing. Now, probably going to be awkward because I've got it. Oh no, I should be right. What I need, if you ever finish off your whippings, normally use an elastic band. I'm going to use a piece of bicycle inner tube because it's what I got on hand. Unless I mean, is it going to stretch enough? Yeah, it's pretty strong stuff. So yeah. So what you do is, I'm just going to undo a couple of these. I don't know if I can show it. Whenever you whip something, you just get an elastic band or whatever. You put it underneath where you're whipping, like that. Like that. And then you just whip over the top of it temporarily. The only thing I would say is, don't whip tight, especially on rod whippings, because you're going to pull the string through itself. You can snap it if you whip that last bit too tight. And then where you've got the loop of the band, I don't know how well this is coming out, but you push the string through that loop at the end when you finish, like that. And then all you do, grab your band and pull your string, and it'll come underneath, and hopefully, I should have left a bit of slack there really, there we go. It'll come up like that. So then you just give it a good old tug like that, and that's it. And then you cut that off, like so, like that. And there you have it. Closer look. One whipped pole. Now what I'll do is I'll probably just go over it with a bit of tape, just to save if it bangs rocks, I think, from getting rubbed on rocks. It should be okay, but I haven't using this thicker string where you pull it through. It can come loose if it hasn't been done tight enough, but if you're using string, it'll lock itself off, so I wouldn't worry. But this is obviously that sort of plasticky string. But what I like to do, because I always think it finishes it, is use insulation tape kind of thing on the end. Don't worry, it doesn't really come off in the water. You see me use it on the crab pot ropes with the lead. Do it nice and tight so it beds down into it. Come back down just to finish it off like that. Right, just let the stretch. So if you try and push it down when it's stretched too tight, it will peel up, so just let it spring back a little bit first, and then just finish it off like that. There you go. That's that whipped on. So there's your basis of your frame. It's heavy, but saying that, it should act quite well when you're pushing it through the water, because it'll stay down on the ground as you're pushing it along. Again, I would rather have used 8mm or even 6mm, but I've only got 10mm, so I'm going to have to go with this for the time being. Like I said, if we make a bigger one, I might see if I can get my hands on some 8mm, and then we'll make a larger one for going after prawns. Right, net. Gonna have to use this net because this is all I got. We'll go on something like this. Right. the thing with this net as well is it's got slightly bigger holes, so a lot of the small shrimp prawn will go through the net holes, which will be brilliant because that will save me having to like scoop up lots of small ones. So when we do get them, most of them that'll be, well, a lot of them that'll be in here will be the ones to take and not a lot of small ones. Because that net is very, very fine and it picks up lots of small ones as well, which if we can avoid that, it's all the better. Well, we've sewn up the net. All I used was just a darning needle and some braid, some old fishing braid off an old reel. Just want to check that it all fits before I start putting it all together. Yep, near enough. Yep, not bad. I could have sewn that in actually a little bit like that. I could probably do that afterwards, just fold it up. But you get the idea. I've just got to sew this over the top now. Now normally what I would do is I would put a bit of pipe or something over the top of this, just when you're pushing it into the rocks, so you don't rub the net and break the net. Like I say, it's not so important on this one because I might do that afterwards, we'll see. Right, just got to put this onto here and then it's good to go. So there you go, one prawn shrimp net. It's just a smaller one, like I said, it's designed to get in amongst the kelp, and I've just gone over it with some crab pot string, which is tougher stuff to just protect it against banging against the rocks so it doesn't damage the net and break the net. Like I said, it's only a quick prototype, just to a bit of fun. I will make a bigger one in time, but I probably will use thinner metal. This is a little heavy still, 10, but it's all I had, so we went with it. And we'll still use the big one for the open areas, and this, like I say, I'll just be getting into those, amongst those stones and that. So the next thing is to take it out, get some prawns. We've just moved locations because it's so blinking windy and the water just isn't going down far enough.